Welcome to our OTLA digital project. Sit back, relax and enjoy.
Hi everyone, great to see so many of you here today. All you digital educators out there, what a great time I hope you've had finding out about and using all the great digital technologies that have been shared. Make sure you look out for yourself in our presentation.
So, I'm Joanne.
And I'm Lisa.
And we're from Gateshead College. Our project was in partnership with North Tyneside Council and North Tyneside YMCA. And this is basically our journey in 3 steps. Step 1, our initial intentions, what we started to do, what we wanted to do from our project, was to reach out and, working with partnerships, develop a strategy of where we could perfect our own practice by identifying what our problems are with our teams, with our students, or just in our organisations. And then come together to work out how can we actually do this. But the idea was that we wouldn't just develop ourselves through regular CPD, we'd come together to develop each other, and then they would become digital champions in their own rights, in their own teams, and spread the word. So we came beyond CPD, it became a new way of working. Started out by running 4 training days. In the main were facilitated by Lisa. We started off initially with our internal staff, where we had a digital expert delivering those sessions. And it didn't really work that well, but it didn't work because they were so proficient in what they did that they had the skill sets. And it was easy to them, that it didn't necessarily come across that easy to people that joined in. So we thought, how can we take that step back and make our changes so more people could develop their skills? And then Lisa came in.
Yes, I was asked to come in with cohort 2. So we've had 3 cohorts, 3 cohorts in total. And it's lovely to see, so as I said, lovely to see so many of you here today. And when I looked at what we were trying to achieve, the thing that struck me is, look, let's have a look at what people are using already. So day 1 was very much finding out what people are currently using. And what we found is, and I've asked for a drawing to be done of it, we've got this treasure chest. And all of you in this room now have got this knowledge, you're using these digital technologies. And we're no different. We have 3 or 4 digital technologies that we use, that we're aware of, that we feel confident with, and we kind of stick to them. And what I found on day 1 from cohorts 2 and 3 is that there was stuff being used that I'd never been introduced to, I'd never heard of, and it was the same for everybody else in the room. That there was stuff being used by colleagues, some who worked in the same organisation as they did, but they didn't know how to use them. And that formed the basis of the programme ultimately in the project. How do we make sure that instead of this treasure, this tiny little treasure chest, this kind of, this jewellery box, shall we say, of 3 or 4 things inside it, how do we turn it into this huge treasure chest where we've got all of this technology, all of these digital technologies bursting to get out? And the other thing that we found is that people were so, they really wanted to be seen to be using digital technologies and would often look at them the wrong way around and learn something, how to use a technology, and then look to see what they could put it towards in a classroom setting. So, they may use Padlet, and they might use it and ask some questions and put some information on there and put some documents on there. And yes, it worked okay, but actually there was another technology out there that would do that even better. So sometimes people were making the technologies fit.
So what we needed to do was think about our practice. What is it we want to change? Why do we want to change it? Is it for us? Is it for our colleagues? Is it for our learners? So we had to look at some theory. We then needed to find out between us, what do we already know? What do we know? How do we use it? Why are we using it? Is it the right tool? We could do that by practice. And then to be able to reflect. So to look back and think, has it made a difference? If it has, is it enough of a difference to spread the word? Or is it just a difference for that 5 minutes, that one session? So those were the three things that we thought the process would be. But then, it never goes to plan. We soon realised that our college staff and our first additional partners came with a range of different skill sets, from those that never used technology in their workplace at all, but became part of our project. And we had some people that were more than comfortable, more than confident to introduce them.
And first thing to say is that as part of that SWOT analysis that we've been doing, as a weakness, I've put on not a teacher. I'm not a teacher, I never have been a teacher, never planned on being a teacher, because I'm not mad.
And I think those words said it all. The roles that were coming as part of this project were so varied that they weren't all practitioners. They didn't all work with the same learners on a regular basis. They may see their students once, twice, maybe months in between. So we had to recognise that the roles of the people engaged with this project were so different. They weren't always in a classroom environment.
And that threw up lots of challenges as well, because some people are working off-site. They have very limited digital technologies available to them when they're in various locations around the region. So that brought up lots of issues for people as well.
It also meant not everybody, as this OTLA project, were volunteers. So from our internal staff, they were sort of nudged forward on behalf of their department, to say that really, really nicely, because some of them, heels in, didn't want to do it, they're not technology minded, and that's okay. But some bought into it, no problem. We found in cohort 2, from our partnership, again, they hadn't necessarily volunteered, were willing to come along, wanting to develop, but hadn't volunteered to. And then from some people in the room who really did put the hand up and said, I'll make that, can I do this? Because it was more than just the project. So, we got together and considered, how do we address all of these needs? How do we look at the different participants? How do we look at the different skills that we already have? How do we consider the learners that are going to have the impact on? And how do we really get that digital champion to go into their organisation feeling comfortable and confident to deliver and make a difference? So we had to think of professional development programmes. What makes them work? We had to do our homework. So it's not just taking someone for that short snapshot of time and developing using one tool. It has to be more about them looking at their own practice and realising why. We couldn't make it the same for everyone, because it would never work. We're all too diverse from our organisations and from our learners and from the sectors that we cover. So there's no one size fits all. We need to take on board the starting points of every member of staff or every participant that came to join us on this journey, and allow every individual to see the impact that they were having on their learners. So we did a little bit of active learning, and then gave people time to reflect. I feel like I was on long enough, but it wasn't. We introduced people to different technologies that we didn't have access to in their workplace, and we started off with Google Cardboard and using Google Expeditions, because one of the ladies in our first group worked with learners with disabilities, where they couldn't physically get to a space they wanted to teach about, so taking them there virtually worked. So by introducing little tools like that, it let people really reflect on their skills, where their starting points were, where their learners, where their problem was. Then, go back
so then we, on day 2, we had the sharing of all of these fantastic technologies, digital technologies that people were used to using. So we asked everybody to come up and develop and deliver a micro-teach session using a digital technology that they were familiar with. So we didn't want to put anybody out of their comfort zone at this point. We wanted everybody to share the stuff that they were confident with using. We wanted them to share who had used it with, their learners, and why were they using that particular technology, what was the issue it was there to address. But then be really honest. Was it the right fit? Was it enhancing the learning? And this is going back to what I think we always need to remember. Are we considering the learner's journey when we're using digital technology? Are we putting it in to showcase what we can do at the front? Or are we putting it in because it enhances the process for them? It makes learning more engaging. Whatever it does, it needs to address the learner needs. And then hopefully our needs as teachers as well as practitioners get addressed somewhere along the lines as well, whether it's about making assessment for learning easier, making it easier to see where each person is at a particular time. So that's what we started with, the micro-teachers and sharing what people knew. And what was fantastic then is that you've got all of the other people who are in the room who are seeing these digital technologies for the very first time because they're not familiar with something that somebody else is using. So again, just putting more stuff into our repertoire as practitioners and inspiring us to potentially go away and start to consider what have I seen today that I could use and how would that be helpful for me and my learners.
So we started off by thinking, how do we share this? How do we capture the good things that are coming? And how do we share it? As an organisation, we're meant to use Moodle. And we find that from the participants that's taking part in this project, that they use Moodle, but only when they're at the full day training course with us. So when they're on site with us, they're fully engaged with that. And the report data, I wouldn't dare show you. So when they're there, we'll all do it. We share resources, we get our feedback, we comment. But we thought, well, it's not really working if you're only doing it when you're with us, because we're working towards a qualification as well. So we tried using Google Classroom, and again, there was more engagement there. But from us trying to, oversee this project, we're realising that people are busy, and they don't always link to the VLE. So we stopped using it for cohort 3 because we're developing our practice, looking at our problem, and our problem was learner engagement with our learners, our practitioners. So we had to come back, take a step back and think, how do we do this? We handed the power over to you. This is where we started sharing. We shared some practice, we went out and we were able to assess our own practice in the workplace. So we have some examples here. Michael and Kevin's project decided to use QR codes. QR codes aren't new. They've been around for a very long time, but how do we use them effectively? How do we get, for this, it was to increase independent learning. So Michael and Kevin are working at our engineering site. They spray paint cars and things. They were doing practical sessions with their students, but they were doing demonstrations. If a student was off, they couldn't then come and do that same demonstration again. So it was down to the learner to find the required resource. So Kevin and Michael decided they'd use video to record their demonstrations, and then they tagged them onto a wall with a QR code. So if a learner needed to recap, or remember, or revisit, they went to the learning wall and they took control of that process. And that helped each individual learner because they could choose what they wanted to do again. So that's the picture on the screen there, but this is Michael and Kevin disseminating that to a team of his colleagues that weren't in the same area, weren't in the same sector. They then, because the feedback that we got was quite good, they then created a QR code to teach somebody how to do the QR code. So they made a resource available for other staff. That was staff within the college, and they took it one step further. Michael then came to disseminate that to our cohort 2, so our participants from this project. And again, it was trying it out. Now we know that some of our colleagues have actually went out and used QR codes in their own practice. Michelle decided to use it to create a little learning board for her healthcare and health and social care students. We decided to use Twitter in the summer to get students already engaged with that process, so they knew it was coming, and building up the anticipation of what's going to be behind those codes, and whether they're linked to a session, whether they're linked to a homework task, giving ownership and power to those students, so we can see that coming through.
It's actually my ICT class. I forgot to say there's music in there as well.
Are you playing that in the background?
No, this is I'm on a big organ. As you see, so the results are on the screen. Everyone's working at their own pace. There's quite speedy to finish it.
Is that the quiz music?
It is.
Yeah.
So thank you, Simon. And it just shows that we do micro teachers, we teach each other all the time because nobody has all the answers. And that was our project, that was what we set out to achieve, was a sharing of practice.
And what was important during those sessions was the real honesty from all of the practitioners in the sense of, I've used this, it worked really well here, but these are the pitfalls, these are the things to be aware of. Perhaps if you're going to use it with this group of learners, you'll need this strategy. With a different set of learners, you might want a different strategy. And there was a lot of that, so hints and tips. And that was so valuable because a lot of reasons why, or one of the main reasons why people are put off from using digital technologies is the pitfalls, it going wrong, not knowing exactly what to expect when you are in situ and you think you've planned it all and then something happens. You know, we've probably all used a Kahoot and had a learner put up an inappropriate name at some point. It only needs to happen once for you to realise that before they go off and set themselves up, then you need to set some parameters. Only your real names, please. And actually, if you don't have their real names, the assessment stuff at the end is meaningless because you don't know who's who. So, but you have to often go through that process. And what was good about talking about all of these technologies is that we were telling each other about these pitfalls in advance. So again, just alleviating some of the concerns that we've all faced, that we can all find happen when we're in that situation.
So Jo was still looking at assessment for learning, but quizzes didn't work for her. Didn't work for her learners, so she decided to use Kahoot. And when she used Kahoot in her classrooms with some learners, it worked. They enjoyed it. They actually engaged with that learning process, and she used it as an assessment tool. Because of the success of that, after they try and fail and learn from it, choose a different tool for the same problem and get somewhere, she then decided to give Mentimeter a go. And because of that interaction with the learners who didn't naturally speak, didn't want to engage that way necessarily, this worked. So she shared it with a colleague, and now obviously that's spread out. So we've got a bit more sharing going on there. And then we had the pleasure of Sam. I don't know if Sam's yet today. No. Sam did his mate will teach us something called Thingling, because again we're looking at the engagement from learners. I've seen that tool and it is absolutely quality. Yeah, so you said totally to watch out for you, so yeah, you might not be there in full force, but you're still there. Thingling, a great tool for learner engagement. So we're looking at the impact. We've all discussed new ways of learning, ways the delivery team facilitating this activity or leading the project have discovered new ways of working because we need to look at all in practice. Nobody's always going to be out there. We're always developing. It's always a journey that we're on. And we'll never ever get to the end of that journey, I don't think, because you should always be learning. Learning from colleagues and being able to share that practice and share the impact, the good and the bad, new ways of working. People that have actually participated in our project, unfortunately there's only one person so far who has not done enough to pass, and that, no, it's not you. No, it's not you. It was unforeseen circumstances that are way out of her control, and unfortunately she's at that point. But everyone else, because of the work that they've done for the OTLA project, have just gained this qualification, the level 4 qualification. So thank you for everyone who volunteered to participate, especially those in cohort 3, because it really was a hands up, let's do this. So these aren't final figures, but we do know that this is roughly where we're looking at the moment. We know we've managed to engage with over 80 practitioners, and we know those 80 practitioners are in teams and sharing what they've learned, good and bad, and spreading that word. And if all of those practitioners just have one regular class, we're averaging 1,800 students. And that's only in this short period of time that we've done this project. But can we really deem that as success? And that's the magic question. So we have quotes, a couple of quotes there, saying that people really enjoyed coming to training with us, gives them time away from the workspace, gives them time to think and try things different, sharing ideas. But is that impact? So we're asking you to join us now and help us gauge the impact of this project, your OTLA project. We've set up a menu. We'd like you to join that menu and just leave your thoughts. Question, how has digital project impacted on you and your practice? So your digital project, what you've developed in your own workspace, how's it impacted on you being part of this bigger picture? What would you do differently? So the menu code is 454997. Please leave your comments, because I think that's how we're going to gauge whether this has been a success for us, for everybody that's joined in. So just give you a minute to do that.
There's a lovely simplicity to Mentimeter, isn't it? I really like that. It's the first time I've used it.
And we're not going to share this, Menti, because we want your thoughts, but they're just your thoughts. So they're anonymous. We won't get to know who you are, we won't follow them up, but we'd like to put them as a collective of how, if this project has impacted on you. And I'm sure we could share that collective with the OTLA team.
But yes, Menti is fantastic, and it's so simple. And I went looking for something that would allow every learner to have a voice who sometimes didn't have a voice, and that's how I came across it. And it was just a revelation. I'd been using Padlet and stuff like that to get people to post on their thoughts about different things, and it didn't quite work for me. Menti, I found it. I really can't remember how now, but I found it before the summer. I think we did something.
I'm happy to say that the first time I came across Menti was at the first OTLA celebration event here.
It might have been you that told me about it then.
It quite possibly was.
And it just solved that problem, and it was fantastic. Learners love it. And what I've been doing in class was what we call silent debates on flipchart, where people write down, and what I found was my learners, typically level 3, studying business, they're really happy. I was getting more from them when they were writing stuff down. but that can be quite laborious, you know, in terms of classroom time. And then Menti, I tried it, and straight away everybody was putting their answers up. And then we could see them collectively rather than holding up a flip chart, and I just loved it.
Something about the trust, like as a teacher educator, you telling me that it works gives me more confidence than any training course I could go on, frankly, because I know if it works for you, it would probably work for me too.
Yeah.
And so we're starting to redefine what we understand professional development to be. A short conversation between you two led you to Menti. You'd heard it at the event, and now I'm thinking, great, I can use this in my practice. It's like you talked about this distributed learning throughout your presentation. There's something in that in terms of what we see professional development to be.
Because I don't think there should be a hierarchy. Just because you've got a title or you've got years of experience doesn't mean that you're the expert. Because you can learn from absolutely everyone. Our NQTs are absolutely amazing to have in our staff room because they come with fresh and new ideas and a different, this is why we're referring to this different way, this new way of working, because the sharing and collaboration introduces us to more tools than we could ever discover on our own or investigate, because we don't know how to use them until somebody shows us, it's like, they're easy. So to summarise our learning, I think, you know, there's always a downside, there's always something that you've got to be aware of that maybe didn't go perfectly to plan. So ours was our consideration for participants' needs. Because everybody came from a different area, different students, like I said, we had to look at each individual and adapt what we did to accommodate that and to make sure that everybody was supported as best we could. We had to change our activities in line with what people's problems were, what their needs were. So introduce tools that would address those needs with the assessment for learning. Let's have a share. But most of all, learning for us. And like Les just said, we have to have the confidence that other practitioners are trying these things and telling us their truth of whether it worked or hasn't worked, or the pitfalls of why it hasn't worked, so we can learn from that and learn with them to develop that, rather than just doing it then. And I think the communication thing is key, not just for our project, but for the sector, for teaching and learning. So because it's Christmas, we've had a little advent calendar, I know on day 17, but this is just some of the tools that have been introduced just from this presentation. And believe you me, we've got a wealth from the micro teachers that have been done, and obviously from your projects that are doing in the experience. So our little Christmas toolbox, it's not fabulous, it's not going to sing and dance or anything, but it just gives you 16 instant tools that you can pick up and use for a variety of different reasons, depending on what your problem is. That sounds awful, isn't it, what your problem is? But your area for development, where your challenge lies. And we've got loads more from the case studies, and there's some amazing case studies coming out of this project from everyone. So I think a bit of sharing with that. And the last two, when we're talking about educational resources and things, there's just so much to fight for in those last two. So I just can't do this, just please, because you've been talking about it all morning and I wasn't happy. So, Katrina, I'm here. Beyond the project, how do we keep this going? Is everything that we keep saying. What do we do next? How do we make it beyond the project? So, I know that we have been having conversations about sharing that, and it would be great if we did. Now, I've put on there a little doodle, so just a little poll of anybody's availability if you wanted to keep those conversations going. But like I say, we're going to pick this up in the new year, hopefully. And I get not everybody will be able to make it. I know there's the online one, which is going to be great. But I think it could work for those that can get together and share. And then if it's the Twitter or the online or whatever else it is that we do it, keep that conversation for those people that spread a little bit wider.
I can't tell you, but when the ETF first thought about professional exchange as a sister project to OTLA, it was always meant to come from us, from you. to see you saying to everybody, we want to make this happen, we want to shape that, it's really music to my ears. I think that's just brilliant, because this is about us leading our own learning.
It is. So if we can't be in one space because we know time is tight and we can't always make it there, then we do have other ways. But I think to get the conversation beyond the OTLA project's really important. So we can make that link available. I know it's not very nice the way it is. And I promise there's 2 more slides before we hit the cliff. Wants to say thank you to absolutely everyone that's participated, not just our colleagues at work, not just our partnership, but everybody that's in here and those that can't come along. Okay, so thanks to everybody. And this is a little tool that we found by accident. And I don't know, we might be behind the times here, but on LinkedIn, if anybody's on LinkedIn, you can actually scan each other now, so you don't even have to do the business cards or the emails or what's your name.
Which is really good
Within
in these
that.
times of austerity.
So, is everybody, because I don't want to tell people how to do things that they already know how to do, does anybody know how to get their QR code within their LinkedIn app? No. So we need a big projector, we can go like that. If you go onto your LinkedIn profile, and then there's a little bar along the top where you would normally search for someone. There's a little grid of dots. If you click on that dot, it should automatically generate a camera view, which means you can scan somebody else's just off the phone. Or the next view along, the next tab along, it actually shows your own QR code for your profile. So that's there. So you can go and scan people if you want, and then stay connected that way. Okay, that's us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.